One of the very first movies I added to my, at the time, new DVD collection. What a cast in this film. This was also one of the first movies which I became aware that somebody was making a conscious kind of a love letter to the 1980s. And since then, that's become a whole genre in itself. Very tightly plotted film.
You and me together, we've just begun.
Bird with Crystal Plumage, a classic giallo film. This movie was a present from a friend. This is Andy Milligan, a director who's prolific, and I don't know his work all that well. I like black and white grainy films. I think this is where UHD format is the best, is black and white films where they cannot mess up the colors. I think digital serves black and white films really well. One of the first movies I ever saw at the cinema was Alien Resurrection. So that left an impression, and I think the first 4 movies they're a universe unto themselves. Fulci's Gates of Hell. This movie I own across many formats. I've double and triple dipped on this one. A fantastic film. Really, really good 1980s. Straight up gory horror. This was a present from a friend when he was moving house. It's a really good film about the corruption in the South. I really would like to rewatch it. It's really minimalist direction, and there is a supporting role. Max von Sydow. Marcel Bozzuffi is in it from The French Connection. Great film. David Lynch. I love the production design in this. Everything is tangible, physical. Such an elaborate look at the universe. I never read the book. I've never seen the new movies all the way through, so I don't know. This is the Dune for me. Some more Fulci, inevitably. This is Enigma, made in Bosnia when Fulci was really on the downward spiral with dwindling budgets in his career. It's a charming film, totally derivative from Patrick, Carrie, movies like that. Amazing, soppy ballads for the soundtrack. Not a perfect film, I enjoyed. This was on TV all the time growing up. The French-Turkish actor who plays the bad guy in this, he is incredible, so I mainly watch it for him. He's a great actor. This is Mario Bava's Bay of Blood, Arrow Video. This film I own across a bunch of formats. Mario Bava is definitely someone who's just a one-of-a-kind filmmaker, good at bending rules. And he could get away with very low budget and still make create spectacular visuals. A very good, interesting and short film. It doesn't overstay its welcome. A 1980s slasher, all set in one location. The first feature from Michele Soavi, who went on to direct Cemetery Man, which is an incredible film, Della Morte Della Mori. Good film, a late period of low-budget giallo, all set in one location. This is from Lamberto Bava. A Blade in the Dark, gory, violent scenes, and it's a convoluted film. The English dub is terrible. If you ever watch it, don't watch it in English. Any other language, please do yourself a favor. A Blade in the Dark. I haven't seen this in years. This, I remember bringing this home from a rental store. I anticipate possibly a very painful viewing of this one. Urban Legend. The Negotiator. I love Sam Jackson. I remember watching this after school, things like that. This is kind of typical masculine storytelling. If you watch this, the 15 minutes of this is like a manual what an adrenaline pumping sort of thriller was like in the 1990s. It's a good textbook example of what was considered good, strong mainstream filmmaking at the time. Boogie Nights. Paul Thomas Anderson. Every time I watch his films, he's a rare filmmaker where I finish his film and I'm ready to immediately watch it again. Immediately. And they're quite long films. He's one of a handful of filmmakers who can sustain a movie which is longer than 80 minutes. Incredible. Honestly, I've seen this movie so many times. About 45% of this movie is stock footage taken from a documentary. It's a triumph of cut and paste editing. The music is stolen from Dawn of the Dead. This is Hell of the Living Dead. I've seen this movie so many times. Oh my god. Italian Zombie. Trash. Knockoff. Tui Hark. Incredible visuals, incredible dynamic editing. Just watch it for the kinetic. You don't even need to have the sound on for this film. Just watch it. It's mind-blowing. And this was the final career sort of stage for Jean-Claude Van Damme before he completely dropped off the stardom charts and just became a straight-to-DVD kind of B-movie hero knockoff. Seen it way too many times. This is directed by a friend of mine. So this is a copy I personally got from the filmmaker. based on the local legend in Britain, a creepy Midlands phantasmagoria. I remember checking into a hotel and there was a movie on TV there based on the same legend. So great independent British horror film, Bella and the Witch Elm. This one I honestly didn't finish. It's a great cast. Sybil Danning, John Vernon, Stella Stevens, Henry Silva. And I just, for whatever reason, it just wouldn't grab me. Spike Lee, I have a very difficult time. He's super hit and miss with me. This movie I watch for Philip Seymour Hoffman. This is pretty much the only reason why I have this movie in my collection. I don't think it's a very good film, but I'm hanging on to it. I love Denzel. I remember this from the video store days back in the day. Not a good filmmaker. Some problems with this film. So yeah, this is one of the few movies in my collection I can imagine letting go of without a problem. The Bone Collector. This is really sleazy, disreputable, offensive, immature kind of movie. It embodies 1980s trash cinema really well. Mad Foxes. The lead actor was also in Full Cheat Conquest and he's also in Hell of the Living Dead. This I got from the filmmaker Luigi Cozzi. Brave little film made with no budget, made around Rome. Self-distributed pretty much. I enjoy it, but I don't think it has much exposure, this movie, from Luigi Cozzi. Jean-Claude Van Damme in Israel, a fake Hollywood film, great production value in Bulgaria and Israel. It actually looks quite epic, even though in reality this was when those movies weren't really playing cinemas anymore. This was all straight to video. Some more PTA here. I just watched this movie recently. Again, it held my attention throughout, which is rare. A film which holds and sustains its running time. I need to see this again. Well, you have to have this in your collection if you're into Jess Franco. That's one of his iconic films. Produced by Eurocine, and there isn't really a definitive version because the distributor butchered and recut this film multiple times. This is the only Marvel character and the only Marvel film I actually genuinely like. I remember seeing this, the first movie in the cinema when it came out, and I still like the original Blade film a lot, and part 2 is not bad. Very well edited action scenes. This is screened a lot in my residence. This movie is on whenever I feel down. That's one of the films that's fun to watch. Some more Jess Franco here. This is Nightmares Come at Night with Jack Taylor and a small cameo by Soledad Miranda. Ooh, Anchor Bay. This was my favorite DVD label. I really hang on to Anchor Bay DVDs in my collection. I never ever want to let go of those. Robert Siodmak, the director of The Spiral Staircase and Criss Cross. This is the first lead role for Mario Adorf, who went on to have a career in Italy with Fernando Di Leo, and appeared in a couple of giallo films. Really fantastic film. They're looking for a serial killer in wartime Berlin. Really good storytelling. This film, it shook my world when it came out. This is one of the last films where I felt, oh my god, it's a new movie which is coming, and it really turned my world upside down a little bit. This doesn't happen anymore. Inevitably, you have to have some 1980s Italian goodness. Lucio Fulci. Music by Keith Emerson. Murder Rock. Lamberto Bava's debut movie. Really good. You could sort of say it's a bit like Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. Mainly all in one location, and there is a strong performance. This tormented woman's quest for love, let's put it this way. 1980. A classic. Jean-Louis Trintignant, Vittorio Gassman, Il Sorpasso, known in France as Le Fanfaron. Black and white. When Italy was booming, when they had their economic miracle happening. Yul Brynner. This influenced The Terminator. I've never seen the TV series, so I don't know. Lina Romay, a Jess Franco film, released by Mondo Macabro. Adam Sandler, one of his finest performances, together with Punch Drunk Love. This is one of the more recent films in my collection. You don't see a lot of really new movies because I don't collect as actively as I used to. This is quite a cool film. I've seen this movie probably six times in the last 12 months. Again, this brings memories when movies were still a big deal. This is a little scene, black and white film. Attack of the Robots, starring Eddie Constantine of Alphaville, one of the lesser known Jess Franco films. Oh, look at this, Mean Guns. This is from Albert Pyun. In the 90s, if you wanted a low-budget action film, Albert Pyun used to really deliver good action films. Dracula's Daughter. There is about 2 minutes of Howard Vernon with fake vampire fangs on this. I like this movie, even though this was cobbled together on the side using props and locations available from other films. Great music. This is actually largely shot in Italy, and I got this for Sage Stallone. This one I reviewed for 31 Days of Halloween, 31 Days of Horror. Really, really good low budget film. Dracula, Prisoner of Frankenstein. This is a really slow moving, lazy, cheap. This used to be one of the easiest to find Jess Franco movies. This was always available. I don't remember this movie ever being hard to find. This was one of my early Jess Franco experiences. Look at this image. The drill is stolen from the Umberto Lenzi film Bloodstained Orchids. But this is actually the Jess Franco movie. Neurosis, a Eurocine production.
Neurosis.
This is a Catalonian Spanish production in English, Love of the Damned. When Spawn was made into the film, and then this came out, and this felt a lot more real, even though this is also an adaptation which isn't faithful to the comic, but it's less disappointing than Spawn. An author dear to my heart, 2 movies in one. This is From Beyond, incredible special effects laden movie, and The Resurrected. The Resurrected has a guy with a mullet, it's such a period vibe. I could rewatch this anytime. I was never a fan of the original Blair Witch, so when the sequel rolled around, I welcomed it because it was more of a conventional film. I think the cast, barring just one actor, is awful, but from the style, it's not a bad film. It was just massacred in post-production by the studio. This is John Saxon as a Vietnam vet in Atlanta, Georgia. Cannibal Apocalypse. One of Antonio Margheriti's most commercial movies. I believe it's the same director who shot Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Honestly, this was made by the time Stallone pretty much was playing himself, so that he wasn't embodying characters anymore. You just don't see, as you see this movie, there is very little gap between his star persona and the character he's meant to be portraying. When people think about a cliched 80s action film, this is a good contender. It almost feels like a parody at times. It's that over the top. I remember again this poster. Growing up, a friend of mine had a poster for this in his bedroom from Jean-Claude Brissot, The Sound and Fury. A good Fulci film with some tragic scenes in it, some tragic characters. It's a kind of an indictment. It makes the south of Italy look really, really bad. This movie I watch for the editing. I'm not keen on characters. I don't like the video cinematography. I mean, the camera moves themselves are fine. It's just the video texture is awful, but it's really well edited. Martin Scorsese, Mean Streets. This movie and Stallone's Rocky 1 and 2 are, I think, interesting examples of the Italian community and their gender roles on the East Coast in the 70s, and the role of the church and the patriarchy. Harvey Keitel in this. He doesn't have much of an alternative but to become what he becomes in this. Seen many times over the years, just wonderful. Good, no frills direction. It's a film that doesn't waste shots. It's a director who knows how to tell his story with the minimum of shots. He doesn't shoot coverage. So this is like film school material. Again, a movie I've seen a ridiculous amount of times. Very upbeat. A lot of cannibal films drag and have no character. This one is like a wild, crazy, sleazy Indiana Jones with all the wrong things in it. It's a lot of fun. The German language dub of Gates of Hell. I love the soundtrack in this film. I think this is probably my favorite Goblin soundtrack. Really, really like it. Ian McCulloch in this, scowling his way through Colombia, even briefly New York City. This was picked up by Canon for distribution in the States. Beyond Reanimator, Spanish Barcelona production, helmed by Brian Usna. This was one of the first DVDs I bought, the third in the Reanimator trilogy. This movie brings back memories. Again, going to video rental stores and discovering this movie on VHS. And this was one of the first films which were intentionally a bit silly. And that was before I knew what trauma style films were. So that was a movie where I saw, okay, so this isn't very serious. This is a kind of a tongue-in-cheek approach to the genre. It's set in San Francisco and influenced by Vertigo, starring Jean Sorel, one on top of the other. Quite a strong 1960s vibe. Another favorite from Takeshi Kitano, seen many times and due for a rewatch. His way of showing and staging violence is spectacular. It's nothing like the ballet of John Woo or over-the-top bloodshed of the Italian directors. This is a very mean and concentrated portrayal of violence. It's special. Good film. Cameron Mitchell, Blood and Black Lace. The first 20 or 30 minutes of this film are really quite incredible. I don't know how many times I've seen Cruising. It's probably my favorite Friedkin movie. I love it when Joe Spinell pops up in the Central Park and almost picks up Al Pacino. There is a really good UHD. This is one of the worst movies in my collection. Alberto De Martino, I never respected this filmmaker. David Warbeck is slumming in this movie. This is a Russian filmmaker adapting an original screenplay or treatment from Akira Kurosawa, Runaway Train. Possibly the best canon movie, together with Love Streams, and probably the best role for Eric Roberts. This is the only UHD I own because it's a combo, 187. I love Sam Jackson, but this film is flawed. This was the first George Romero film I ever got to see on the big screen. That was when he kind of made his comeback after years and years of languishing in obscurity. I remember I saw it twice at the cinema, and I also managed to catch the next Dead movie when it had a very brief token theatrical run. I don't know if this movie got much theatrical play in the States. It's one of the best roles from Johnny Depp when he was really busy and he was just making one great film after the other. The Ninth Gate, one of my favorite satanic themed movies. James Russo really is good in this. Another film which kind of brings memories of Video Rental Store, and I got it for Bill Paxton basically. Bill Paxton, You Are Missed. This was one of the strongest cinema experiences, going to the movies about 3 times to watch this. Great filmmaker. He went on to some acclaim. Okay, this is basically a fairy tale. There is an unforgettable moment where digits just float off the screen into the room. It really romanticizes coding. The soundtrack, I mean, this is a period piece by now. Score by Simon Boswell. So he moved up from making those 1980s Italian soundtracks to horror films, and he moved on to things like that. Francois Truffaut, I really appreciate his sensibility. This is his English language film, which didn't make much of an impact. A rare instance of a Spielberg film in my collection. Max von Sydow plays the bad guy in this. Great editing. I haven't seen this movie in years. The Incubus, I got this for the cast. John Cassavetes is in it, and it's an odd film where you just wouldn't have something like this made today, where they have 1 or 2 good actors in a really strange film where the plot, you're not sure where this is going, and it's oppressive, and it has impact, but I'm not sure how much of it was intentional. So it's an odd film. The Incubus. Highlander, the first one. Not sure if this had much play in the States, but in Europe this movie is a cult classic. It made waves in Britain and France, Germany. Highlander. Here is a rare Stephen King adaptation, which, even though it's flawed, it has enough going for it. Michael Rooker plays the sheriff. It's very different from what Romero was up to when he was truly independent. This is a lot more of a smooth and mainstream looking film. This is Jeepers Creepers. I like both films, especially part 1 for Justin Long. This is quite a classical, in terms of cinematic form. It uses a lot of tricks from classic cinema storytelling. A Jess Franco movie with Diane Thorne. Made in Canada. The things that go on in schools now have actually eclipsed this film, but I think at the time this was still kind of a bit futuristic, sort of like the 1980s Clockwork Orange, with an opening theme song by Alice Cooper. Burial Ground with Peter Bach, the infamous low-budget zombie romp. Really strange music. I don't have a lot of comic book adaptations in my collection, but this is made in Australia, and I think it didn't make much impact when it came out. The director of this is actually more known as an editor. I think he edited the second Terminator film. A movie so many people hate, and I hated it when it came out. I definitely remember being really pissed off when it came out. But, you know, times move on, I've seen worse. There has been a lot worse films in the intervening years. It's a film of its time. I like it because there is a large section shot in Rome and you see some of the cult actors show up. There is like one scene where you literally have 2 or 3 cult movie actors share the screen with Jean-Claude Van Damme. This is from the filmmaker who also made Knockoff. Another Friedkin favorite, which I own across the different formats. Willem Dafoe in this, unforgettable. A friend brought me this as a present from Sitges. This is a great, obscure movie I need to rewatch soon because it really made an impression on me the first time I watched it. Parents. It's a film I've never heard of until it landed in my lap. I need to see this again soon. Early George Romero, nice artwork. My favorite Orson Welles, a movie I watch every year at least once. This is Mr. Akkad in Confidential Report. One of my favorite Jess Franco films. Miss Muerte. The actresses in this are just spectacular. This movie has a ton of class. Al Cleaver in a lead role playing a tough guy. This is along the lines of The Running Man. Really fun music. Very low budget but made with a lot of skill. I remember watching this with friends on VHS. Immortal film, John Saxon, Bruce Lee, Jim Kelly is referenced in Roman Polanski's The Tenant. Umberto Lenzi's probably most ridiculous film, made as a co-production, set in some anonymous English-speaking country but shot in Madrid and in the outskirts of Madrid. Clive Barker, his contribution to late 1980s, early 1990s cinema, anything he's done, including Lord of Illusions, is just very important. Okay, coming up, this is one of my favorite independent British genre films. Really minimalist, made very quickly with very limited resources, but a fantastic film. It really embodies a lot of qualities which are missing in newer films, and good score, Prey. This is a really dramatic film. Anthony Franciosa is in it, Anthony Quinn, classic. Very, very brutal ending across 110th Street. Jean-Louis Trintignant and Klaus Kinski together in a snowbound western. This is in my top 5 European westerns. The Great Silence. Beast in Space. This is one of the most offensive, outrageous films in my collection, with music by Marcello Giombini. Mario Bava is one of those filmmakers who have really changed the way I look at films, and he's really left a mark. This one I rewatched recently. Romano Scavolini's scuzzy US-made slasher. Very, very interesting film and very choppy editing. Nightmare. Super underrated Dario Argento film. Music by Ennio Morricone. Another film with a good acting role for James Russo, set in Minneapolis, Trauma, music by Pino Donaggio. This is a film which the exteriors were partially shot in Berlin, so I often pass them by as I'm out and about in the city. One of the movies which is so 80s it becomes almost a parody of a 1980s B-movie. Some more Mario Bava, inevitably. Kill Baby Kill, an extraordinary film. Dario Argento's Inferno. Will we ever see this in 4K? I doubt it. I hope so. That's his most mature film, probably, when it comes to supernatural horror. This is an absolute masterpiece. This movie would not have existed without Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, and this is very underrated as far as Mario Bava goes. Also fantastic artwork. Probably my favorite artwork. I've spoken my piece about this film in a separate video. This was a bit disappointing. I'm not a fan of this film. I thought it was miscast. I thought some of the actors were terrible in this. Jess Franco, Eurocine. Jess Franco playing the lead role, a defrocked priest prowling the streets of Paris in winter. Very low budget, quite grim, an unusual film. She Killed in Ecstasy. Soledad Miranda has a ton of screen time. This is one of the more preposterous films in my collection. Very commercial title, Bloody Psycho. It's set in a castle and it's just a very strange film. Very odd. Low budget, straight to video Italian horror film. This, my friends, is the German language edition of Jess Franco's Succubus. So it has a lot of different dialogue, different narration. I don't know, there is a lot of instances where what the characters say differs from the English language track. but the image quality is terrible. So it would be amazing one day to see this scanned from some kind of a film source. Great release from Arrow. A movie I've seen a good number of times. This is Jess Franco doing a jungle adventure film. This has one of the most low-budget plane crashes I've ever seen. Like, it's so modest. Some good music in this one. Cat o' Nine Tails, beautiful music by Ennio Morricone. This movie I discovered on the big screen when Tobe Hooper died on All Night. I think it was 3 or 4 movies, and obviously I had to get a copy for my collection. A spectacular film from Cannon Films. Yeah, again, this is by now a period piece. This is what was commercial in the 90s. Okay, this is my favorite American horror film. As far as independent horror films go, 1970s films go, it's just the best. The original Phantasm. Jacques Tourneur, Night of the Demon, very stylish black and white film. An American production set in Britain. Tobe Hooper's Spontaneous Combustion, retitled here for the German market. Brad Dourif in the lead role. Touch of Evil. I'm not a huge fan of Charlton Heston in this. He's not very convincing. There are moments, I mean, I just like when Marlene Dietrich pops up in a bit part in this. Some Fritz Lang, a director I admire, and this is a good film. The Woman in the Window. I watch this often because it's just really accomplished. I love the black and white in this. Raw Deal, produced by Dino De Laurentiis. Robert Davi pops up in a supporting part. My favorite Umberto Lenzi film, definitely. Love the acting in this. The score by Morricone. Really, really good film. This isn't such a good film. This is from Antonio Bido. That's his second giallo. I think his movie Watch Me When I Kill was excellent, and then he followed it up with this thriller which has very poor pacing but some nice visuals. This is The Bloodstained Shadow. Andrea Bianchi's, it's a trashy giallo with Edwige Fenech. The music is a ripoff of Papa Was a Rolling Stone. Umberto Lenzi, Eyeball. Nice widescreen shots. Preposterous storyline. The killer is well disguised in this. Not easy to guess. David Hess and John Morgan in a Ruggero Deodato film. House on the Edge of the Park. This is quite shocking, unpleasant, but also at times groovy, and that's probably his best film. Yeah, this is far from brilliant. This is one of the most boring films I've ever seen. Black Zombies. Very lazy and slow. Terrible acting. Awful film, actually. Michele Soavi, produced by Dario Argento, starring Jamie Lee Curtis's sister, The Sect. Very stylish, very confused storyline. Brain Damage, very good exterior shots, but all the interiors are shot in a studio. It's a good film with a slightly narcissistic and stupid lead character. I need to rewatch this. This is quite a unique film. Larry Fessenden, Glass Eye Pix, Wendigo. I wouldn't mind this on Blu-ray. It's a slow-moving film. It's very sad. It's profoundly sad, but I like it. Lee Marvin is impressive in Point Blank. This movie, it's a miracle this was allowed by the studio to be made the way it is with the trippy editing. Film school material. Alcatraz, San Francisco. From Bruno Mattei, A Woman in Prison film, is Laura Gamser. Music by Luigi Ceccarelli. This is really underrated. Later period John Carpenter with Sam Neill. I watch this often. Prince of Darkness and The Mouth of Madness are both, they are tinged somehow with H.P. Lovecraft. I like them a lot. Good films. Really amazing opening credits scene in this. Revenge of the Dead, Pupi Avati. This is one eerie, strange film. It's not very coherent, but it's definitely atmospheric. As a schoolboy, this movie was in my VHS player a lot after school, because I was just always coming back home so bored, and then just watching this film to get some weirdness into me. Definitely made me look at Bill Pullman differently.